Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Teletown Hall for neighborhood leaders, faith leaders, ACE, and leaders in our community. I am Sybil Scarborough, and I serve on Mayor Woodfin's Governmental Affairs team, and I will be your moderator for today. Today you will hear from the mayor and from city officials. We will also open up the phone lines because we really want to hear what's on your heart. At any time, you may press 0 on your keypad to personally ask a question. Staff members are standing by. But before we get started, we would like to know who you are. We will have several polling questions today, and this is the first one. Who are you? Press 1 if you are a neighborhood leader. Press 2 if you are an alumni of ACE. Press 3 if you are a city employee. Press 4 if you are a resident of the city of Birmingham. And press 5 if you are a faith leader. Again, press 1 if you're a neighborhood officer, 2 if you're with ACE, 3 if you're a city employee, 4 if you are a resident, and 5 if you are a faith leader. We will leave that polling question open for about 3 minutes. And now I turn today's Teletown Hall meeting over to Mayor Randall Woodfin.
Hey, good morning, Sybil, and thank you for that introduction. Before we get started, I would like to ask Sanjay Singh to open with the word of prayer. Minister Sanjay, could you open us up, sir?
Mayor, thank you for asking me. Please bow your head. The following prayer is from Gandhi, who daily would include teachings from Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Islam, Zoroastrian, Baha'i, Native American, and Shinto faiths. He said, religion is like a highway, all leading to the same destination. So, dear God, I desire neither earthly kingdom nor paradise, not even freedom from birth and death. I desire only the deliverance from grief of those afflicted by misery. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May there be peace in celestial regions. May there be peace on earth. May the waters be appeasing. May herbs be wholesome. May trees and plants bring peace to all. May all beneficent beings bring peace to us. May thy wisdom spread peace all through the world. May all things be a source of peace to all. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace be with all of you. Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much. And again, good morning to everyone. I want to thank you all for joining us for this Teletown Hall related to our budget. Before we get started, I need 2 favors. One, we're going to open up the floodgates. So anything related to this budget, issue, concern, please engage and access so you can be informed with accurate and factual, honest information. Second request I have for you is go back and share this with everybody in your network and circle. We need to make sure that the truth and factual information is out here in our community in all channels. I want to acknowledge the neighborhood officers. Thank you for your leadership. I want to also acknowledge the faith leaders on this call as well as our ACE participants and everyone else. Your service, as you know, to this community is very valued, and I hope you all will, again, share what we discussed today about this budget with your community. We also look forward to receiving feedback from the council as they review our budget proposal. Now, as I dive into this conversation, I want you all to know, again, keep this number in mind, $63 million. That is the number of the budget deficit and shortfall we are facing due to business tax revenue loss due to the coronavirus. We've worked really hard to reduce costs, but I have to be clear with you about what this budget protects first. This budget protects the basic services you expect and depend on. So I want to make this very clear. Public Works employees are not furloughed in this budget. Again, Public Works employees are not furloughed in this budget. Garbage and bulk trash pickup will continue uninterrupted. There will be no interruptions to your garbage and bulk trash pickup. We have additional funding in this budget for weed abatement, so we will continue to cut grass. We have not cut the budget for demolition, so there will continue to be blight removal. We will continue our street resurfacing plan with $10 million total for this year's street resurfacing. Your fire and your police protection will not be reduced. Any service that falls under our basic responsibilities of public safety, as well as public infrastructure, again, will continue without interruption. Let me say public safety and infrastructure will continue. Our commitment to neighborhood revitalization has not changed, but this budget does reduce costs in most categories. So I want to talk about some of them. We must do this to protect our city's finances, even if we're short $63 million. That means making tough decisions. And so I start with this number. The second number I want you to keep in mind is that the city of Birmingham has roughly 3,700 employees. Of the 3,700 employees total for all the city and Birmingham employees, 24 part-time employees have been furloughed indefinitely. These employees come from the Boutwell Auditorium, Parks and Rec, and Sloss. Of the 3,700 employees, 63 full-time employees have been notified they will be furloughed on September 12th. Again, 63. They come from our cultural and recreation facilities. None of these employees are from public works, fire, police departments that provide basic city services. So again, you will not experience any reduction in service due to these furloughs. That now brings us to the library, which has been of public conversation for about 2 weeks. It has been our job to work with the library board, and we have identified the funding at this time and in the proposed budget. The library board must make the decisions as far as their furloughs and operations. It will not be the mayor's office or city council's decision. We have provided guidance on the budget that will let them maintain the current reduced level of service due to the COVID-19. Now, I want to be honest with y'all. There's been a great deal of misinformation. This Teletown Hall serves as an opportunity for me to provide you with the facts surrounding the revenue shortfall and the proposed FY 2021 operating budget. With that being said, I think it's important to note that we have a long way to go, but I'm confident that we will get out on the other end of this stronger as a city and a community, and our finances better. With that being said, I know you all have questions, so let's get to them, and I'll turn it back over to Ms. Silver.
Thank you, Mayor. And if you are just joining us, we welcome you. We want to remind you that you can press 0 at any time if you would like to ask a question. We have a team standing by. And Mayor, I appreciate your comments because at the end of the day, we are still in a pandemic and we are still adjusting to a new norm, a norm that seems to change day by day. And so to our callers, as a city, we are concerned about you. We are concerned about where you live. We are concerned about how you live. We want to hear from you. So remember, you can press 0 at any time. Our first question of the day is, Mayor, how long do you anticipate the furlough lasting? And will employees be called back to work?
I can't say how long the furlough will last because I can't say how long we'll be in this financial predicament related to revenue shortfall due to the coronavirus. What I can say, if things get better, that these furloughed employees will have the opportunity to come back. Remember, currently, if an employee is of those 63 full-time employees that are furloughed, they are still receiving their benefits from the city of Birmingham.
Thank you, sir. There's apparently a repeat question on here, and a caller is asking and says, we asked on the last call, would big salaries be hit? Can you confirm if they have been hit or not?
Yes. I started with my own salary. Every appointed staffer with the city of Birmingham has taken a pay cut. In addition to that, every department head has taken a pay cut. Every deputy department head has also received a pay cut. Those pay cuts range anywhere from 3 to 10%.
Thank you, Mayor. This one is just a statement from an employee who just says, many employees are part of the working poor and don't have enough money to make it through the end of the month. Do you know of any other companies who will be willing to hire the furloughed city employees?
I'm going to let Ms. Jill Medosic of our Human Resources answer that question.
Currently, we have been notified that Coca-Cola is hiring locally, as well as AutoZone. And then the last opportunity that we're currently aware of is through Beham Strong, who they are looking to fill for a variety of positions. And as additional positions become available, we will let you know. I would like to add to the mayor's prior answer as to when people will be called back or if they will be called back. When we started these furloughs back in August and notified employees, we started with 132 full-time employees. We have already found replacements for 69 of those employees, and we continue to have new vacancies arise, and we are looking to replace employees as quickly as possible into other positions. So individuals should be hopeful that they will be reemployed shortly.
Thank you, Ms. Madizik, and thank you, Mayor. That is definitely some encouraging news. We want to remind everyone who's on the line that we are here for you. We are here listening and waiting for your calls, and you can call us at any time. You can press 0 at any time. We want to hear what's on your heart. We want to hear what it is that you have to say. We will now go to our second polling question of the day, and this one is related to the pandemic, and the question is as follows, and it's for the neighborhood associations. Has the closure of facilities due to COVID-19 changed the way that you function as a group? Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no, or press 3 if your answer is our group has adjusted to the change. The question again is for neighborhood associations. Has the closure of facilities due to COVID-19 changed the way you function as a group? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no, and 3 for our group has adjusted to the change. We will leave that polling question open for about 2 more minutes. Mayor, we have another question that has come in reference to our park and rec teams. It says, we got some park and rec people who worked at these facilities a very long time. Can you not find somewhere else to put them?
It depends on their what their skill set or their current job responsibilities are. What we know is that a majority of the park and rec employees are still with us. What we also know is that some of them have transferable skills back to Public Works. And we know that a lot of them have already been transferred to other departments that include Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. The next question is, how are you and the council working to resolve the budget issue so more people won't lose their jobs?
Well, we've already, that's what we've been working on. And the number of full-time people that were furloughed was higher a few weeks ago, so the number's already been lowered.
Thank you, Mayor. A caller is saying, I would like to know if the mayor is open to alternative ideas to keep the library budget afloat. Their suggestion is in maybe introducing coffee shops or the rental of spaces, whereas a portion of the profits would go to the library. They just issued that as an option.
I like the option. It's unfortunately not a determination I can make. The library board controls and dictates operations, employees, etc., not our office. They made a determination in March to close their facilities. They made a determination in May to keep their facilities closed. In September, they're still only doing curbside pickup, so all of their facilities are still closed to the public, but those services are still being provided. They have made the decision to be closed indefinitely due to the coronavirus and making sure the public is not compromised from a health standpoint. So their services through their own decision-making has already been reduced.
Thank you, Mayor. You said something earlier that is just sticking out, that the budget protects basic city services that we depend on. And so this is why we're having the tough conversations, because tough decisions have to be made. The next caller is asking, how much revenue have we actually lost since March, and has any of that been offset by savings and expenses?
March through June, the actual number we lost was $17 million. We haven't been able to calculate the new fiscal year that was technically supposed to start July 1. So to end the year, fiscal year, right, not calendar year, the fiscal year, the past 2020 fiscal year ended June 30th. March through June, we lost $17 million.
Thank you, Mayor. We want to remind callers that you can press 0 at any time if you would like to ask a question. We have team members who are standing by and waiting to hear from you. The next caller would like to know and ask, why are we spending money on license plate cameras that increase our budget when we are short on funds?
License plate cameras investments have not increased our budget. So let me start there. I know that's one of those misinformation campaigns that's going around. I want to be clear about something. There is a significant number of people on this call who have asked us to address crime. And we have created a toolbox. In this toolbox are various tools in order to not only decrease crime, but more importantly, solve crime. We are in our left hand, we acknowledge crime has decreased in categories such as rape, decrease in a category of robbery, decrease in the category of theft, burglary, auto theft, and every other crime with the exception of homicides. Now, homicides have not increased. It's the same exact number this time last year, September. The license plate readers are important for a couple reasons. You all on this call as neighborhood leaders know that people are pulling up, driving up to places they don't live to shoot at someone, shoot in someone's commercial building, small business, and the worst, shoot in someone's home. They drive off. We don't have a witness to give a description of the vehicle, color of the vehicle, description of the person, and or the driver, the license plate number. These license plate readers are very helpful to us as it relates to additional tool in the toolbox to be in a position when there's a crime committed and we have this culture of people not sharing information. The license plate reader allows us to solve a crime where there is a victim involved faster. This is not debatable. We will use this tool because it is helpful. It's helping us solve crime, and it is not taking away from the budget, nor is it causing some significant increase in the budget.
Thank you, sir. The next caller is looking ahead to November and says, community center employees are furloughed. How does that affect our voting centers?
It does not affect the voting centers. The voting centers will still be allowed to operate.
Thank you. And this one we've seen before and we'll answer again. It says, will the classic funding be added back to the budget?
The classic funding wasn't taken out of the budget. The classic funding was moved to a different funding source. The City Council passed last year a $3 additional fee on lodging tax. So anyone that got a hotel room or a motel room in our city limits paid an additional $3 fee. Those funds are in a separate account, separate from our general fund. That fund has a significant amount of money in it, and that funding can only be used for sports and entertainment and infrastructure improvement. The classic and the support of the classic will come from that funding. I want to make this clear, though, before Sybil goes to the next question. If a classic happens in the spring, that is not a determination the city of Birmingham makes. Again, I want to repeat that. The classic happening is not determined by the city of Birmingham. It is determined by the two institutions, Alabama State and Alabama A&M, as well as the Southwest Athletic Conference, SWAC. They decided to cancel their fall football, not the city of Birmingham. And if they do decide to have that game in the spring, it will be their determination, not the city of Birmingham. Do we want that event in our city? Yes. Will we support it? Yes. Will it be funded to the extent it can be, yes.
Well said, Mayor. The next caller is concerned about equipment management and about the reduction in equipment management and would like to know, how does this work?
It works very similar to all other departments and divisions in the city of Birmingham. The way we solve for not furloughing more people is that we took vacant positions first. The city of Birmingham and all of its departments combined had over 400 plus vacant positions. That was a net savings of costs right at about $17 million, I believe. As it relates to equipment management, as you know, last year's budget ended at $14.7 million. This year, I think the budget is proposed of $14 million. That $700,000 in reduction is from vacant positions taken. So no one was furloughed in this department. We didn't take away equipment, etc. We took the vacant positions. Those vacant positions had a rough guesstimate amount of around $700,000 in costs.
Thank you, Mayor. And for those who are just joining us, we welcome you. We want to remind everyone that you can press 0 at any time if you would like to ask a question. And earlier, there were some key points that were made by the mayor in reference to this budget. And basically, what was said was that public works employees are not furloughed. Garbage and bulk trash pickup will continue. Grass cutting will continue as well. And we have not cut the budget for demolitions. That takes us to our third polling question of the day, which is as follows. And we want to hear from you. What is your greatest area of concern about this budget? That question again, and answers will differ. What is your greatest area of concern about this budget? Press 1 if your greatest concern is basic services like garbage pickup and grass cutting. Press 2 if your greatest concern is about the library alone. Press 3 if your concern is about furloughs. Press 4 if your answer is basically, I have no concerns about this budget at all. And press 5 if your answer is, I really don't know. Again, the question is, what is your greatest area of concern about this budget? Press 1 for basic services like grass cutting or garbage pickup. Press 2 for libraries. Press 3 for furloughs. Press 4 if your answer is I have no concerns about the budget. And press 5 if you really don't know. We'll have that question open for about 2 more minutes and wait for your responses. Our next question for today is in reference to education. A caller would like to know, will the city continue to offer scholarships to our students?
Yes. There is a contractual relationship related to the Birmingham Promise. That's $2 million over a 5-year period that the City Council approved. In addition to that, while we're on education, I want to make it very clear that the City of Birmingham is still supporting the Birmingham City Schools through its capital expenditure dollars to the tune of $2.8 million going towards and directly to the school system this year.
Thank you, Mayor. A caller has a question about Overgrown Locks and says they called in the last time and has provided their address and want to know what can we, the City of Birmingham, do to help in reference to the Overgrown Locks.
I think I'm looking at a note here. I think there's an address provided. So as related to this singular issue, I'll have our operations and public works team investigate that address to see where it is. Everyone, I want you to know there is a process with grass cutting. I want to first tell you what the City of Birmingham is responsible for and what the City of Birmingham is not responsible for. The City of Birmingham is responsible for cutting right-of-ways. We're responsible for cutting city properties. We're responsible for cutting parks and any other city facilities. Those are what your tax dollars pay for. We're not responsible for cutting empty lots, with the exception of those that are part of the land bank, which are city-owned. So, the city council many years ago working with the state legislators, created something called the Newton Bill. It allows the city of Birmingham to go through a legal process to assess and put a lien on the private owner's empty lot. You all are kind enough to allow us to pay for private contractors to cut those lots. The problem is it's thousands of them. And when I say thousands, I mean thousands of them. This is not a very short process. Just to get on the weed bill alone takes months. Then there's a process to get them through a private contractor. There is not enough money to continue to cut private lots. We do the best we can. The more money we put towards cutting private lots that are not owned by the city, the more that takes away from something else, such as trash pickup or paving streets or supporting education. At a certain point, we probably need to go back to the legislators and ask what can we do more aggressively about absentee landlords or slum landlords that are not taking care of their property. I think in the meantime, what we need to continue to do is think outside the box. Remember when I told you all on the call a long time ago, if you decided to get with your neighbors and y'all went on somebody's property, no one's going to call the police on you. Be safe.
Thank you, Mayor. Our callers are definitely listening. The next question is about some of our older neighborhoods. And the caller would like to know, where can they find the trash and brush pickup schedule?
One of the ways to find it is online. Also, I have a sheet of paper right here that tells you should call Sybil. Here's her number. Sybil can tell you anything you want.
Yes, sir.
254-2172. Please take this number down if you have any questions concerning your bulk trash and brush pickup. 254-2172.
Thank you, Mayor, and I will be glad to take the call. The next question, someone just would like to know basically about the federal funding and whether it can help with the city shortfall.
Listen, y'all, I will encourage you, please, call both of your senators. Don't just call Doug Jones. Call Richard Shelby's office. The House of Representatives in D.C. have been advocating for months on behalf of cities across America for the federal government to bail out cities the same way they bailed out everyone else. They bailed out transit. Max Bus got $20 million. They bailed out nonprofits. They bailed out small businesses. They bailed out everyone except municipalities. And part of that is political, as you know, that the White House has been at war with cities that are controlled by Democratic mayors since he's been in office. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is federal help. If you all as citizens email, call, write letters to both of your senators encouraging them to support the House and pass a bill that supports giving federal funding to offset the shortfall for cities, then we can be in a better position to take care of everything and not have to make tough, unpopular decisions.
Thank you, Mayor. Great information. The next caller is asking, if the library board works well within the proposed budget for 2021 and decides they can cut costs without furloughing any employees, would the city of Birmingham have a problem with that?
See, Birmingham has yielded to the library board for them to do whatever they want to do.
Thank you, Mayor. If you are just joining the call, you may press 0 at any time, and we welcome you if you are a new neighborhood leader, faith leader, ACE graduate, or a leader in community who is joining us. The next caller is asking about the Central Park Rec Center and wants to know, will it remain open? And if not, what's going to happen to our students and children who go to the rec center and don't have anywhere else to go?
And currently, students are currently, if I am correct, and I could be wrong, students are not in school, physical classroom because of the coronavirus, and students are not in the physical space of our rec centers because of the coronavirus. But I can tell you any determination in the short, immediate will be determined by the park board, not the mayor's office or city council. I want to remind everybody, the two things I really, really want you to keep in mind, y'all. We're still in the middle of a global pandemic. So I'm encouraged because pandemics don't last forever. I'm also concerned because a pandemic can last anywhere from 12 to 18 months. Now, although that's temporary, remember this is not forever. So sacrifices will have to be made in the short term. The other thing to remember is there's a $63 million deficit. I just told you all for 3 months we lost $17 million. You spread that out over a year's time, you can see how we get to 63. The point is this. When you short money, everything can't be the same and we can't have everything we want. But if we just strap in, things will be better. But things will look different between now and June. It's temporary.
Thank you, Mayor. The caller has definitely tuned in to that $63 million and has this question and would like you to explain the reasoning behind spending $11 million to hire security officers and what protections will these security officers have as it relates to Birmingham policing?
Well, there are a couple of things to note. There's not $11 million for security officers. It's actually $3.6 million, and these are not new hires. These are existing city employees who, according to everyone, don't want to be furloughed. They secure our buildings, such as City Hall. They secure Municipal Court. They secure the Boutwell. They secure the Museum of Art. They secure Sloss Furnace, Arlington House, Southern Flight, Southern Negro Museum, and many of our other existing city facilities, which includes the Botanical Gardens, etc. I want to make this very clear. It's not $11 million for existing employees. It's not even $3.6 million of new money. These are existing employees who are embedded throughout various departments. One of our core values is accountability. The other core value is efficiency. Instead of having our security guards decentralized in various departments, all 90 of them are moving to one department as existing employees, and their salaries are following them to the department they're moving to. Their salaries combined is $3.6 million, not $11 million.
Thank you, Mayor. Remember, you can press 0 at any time if you would like to ask a question, and we will now go to our next polling question of the day. And we are listening, and we are waiting. And this one is in reference to the opinions of all. Should we defund the police? Press 1 if your answer is yes. Press 2 if your answer is no. And press 3 if you have no opinion at all. Again, that question, should we defund the police? Press 1 for yes. Press 2 for no. Press 3 if you have no opinion. We will leave that polling question open for about 3 more minutes, and we are waiting for your response. The next caller would like to know, I hear trash and brush pickup, but I haven't heard mention of the once-a-month recycling. Will that also be continued?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. And it is picked up on the first Wednesday of every month in all of Birmingham's 99 neighborhoods. The next question, and actually the caller is calling with an economic boost suggestion.
All right.
And says, can we do anything to help with the economy, such as visiting our local hotels and shopping exclusively in Birmingham?
I like the idea of both. Again, I want to remind our callers, due to the coronavirus, I want you to consider something. There hasn't been any big-time sporting events, any big-time concerts in our city for quite some time. Remember, the BJCC has not had events, but so has many cities, none of our cities. And this is one of those things why we've lost so much money. I'm going to give you a longer answer than you want. But you consider cities like Huntsville, where they're offering a pay increase for the COLA for their employees. Well, their economics are different. They have a heavy dependency on federal employees dealing with dealing with security, etc. And so their financial hit to their budget is not as deep as ours because our financial budget depends on the things you suggested, such as events in our city and people coming to our hotels, shopping in our city, small businesses, etc. We've had a higher hit because those things have taken a higher hit. I like the idea of people coming to our hotels, but people come to our hotels based on events being in our city. And across the nation, people aren't having big events inside of places right now because of the coronavirus.
Thank you, sir. We do want to remind everyone that they can press 0 at any time. And just to be honest with you, that today is a day where we are having tough conversations because as a city, we are doing our very best to keep you informed through efforts like this and in social media and online. So we know that you have concerns. We are in a pandemic and we are doing our best. And so the next caller would like to ask and says, my concern is regarding public safety and the way of public lighting through the 2059 thoroughfare especially. It is extremely dark at night. I am not certain if the city is responsible for lighting these areas or whom. Who can assist?
The state of Alabama, the Department of Transportation, we continue to have conversations with them. We spoke to them so many times about the issues of lighting, especially when you consider the right before the split of 2059 east northbound headed towards the airport, Meserport exit. You're coming back into the city and you're headed 20, south and westbound, headed all the way towards Avenue I. I think what's been shared with us, everyone on this call, is that apparently it's not a lighting issue. It's a copper issue. Thieves have stolen the copper out of the poles, etc. It has put the state in a position every time they go back to replace something, it's stolen again. And so they're looking for ways to prevent the theft of the copper because it's not the lights. And so they haven't come back to us and offered a solution yet, but this is an issue we continue to press on behalf of the citizens of Birmingham because we do believe it's a public safety issue related to how dark it is.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, neighborhood leaders and faith leaders for being on this call. The next question is there anything in the budget that's going to make up for the exodus of the Church of the Highlands as far as the Birmingham Housing Authority they had and also other programs that they may have been putting money towards?
The exodus of the Church of the Highlands related to the Housing Authority of the school system is not a decision related to the city of Birmingham or our administration. The Housing Authority has a separate own authority. It has a board. It has an executive director. Their decision was in isolation and in determination by them. So whatever is related to who they engage, how they engage, who they have a contractual relationship with, from a funding standpoint, is not determined by the city, nor is it offset by the city.
Thank you, Mayor, for that clarity. We have another one in here at this moment in reference to the equipment budget again. And the caller would like to know, what is the rationale for increasing the equipment budget by $2.5 million for police and for cameras? Is it often that people on this call are asking for more police, but people on this call are asking for investment into parks and libraries? What is the response?
Our response is the equipment increase is also body-worn cameras and tasers. People are asking for more police. That is a true statement. We go to neighborhood meetings all the time, and the number one request we receive with the separation in the summertime of cutting grass all year around is more police. That is a fact. But there are other people in our community who are asking for more police accountability, and that is a fact, and that is very fair. We strike a balance and try to do both. And so part of that balance is making sure how our police engage the community in all manners. They're held accountable and it's transparent. So we provided body-worn cameras. They're not free. They are expensive. And because of that, you'll see an increase. We also know that if you want more police presence with the city our size as it relates to how many miles it is, we have something called rolling stock. Not only do our officers need more vehicles, our firefighters need more fire trucks. Our paramedics need more. They need more trucks to get from point A to B when someone needs service. Remember, most of our stock of our vehicles is over 20 years old, and so at a certain point, you have to make the investments in your equipment.
Thank you, Mayor. The next caller would like to know, and this is for the library employees that received the furlough letters, and they're asking, what are they supposed to do with those letters? Are they supposed to not pay attention to the letters, and what happens with the full-time library benefits?
I would suggest you speak to your executive director of Floyd Council, who is responsible for the day-to-day decisions, operations, and employees of all librarians.
The next call is about land bank, and the caller would like to know, and is simply saying, I would like to know, how can you purchase land out of the land bank without going through the land bank process?
Well, you have to go through the land bank process if you want to engage in purchasing something from the land bank. I will give you two options, or both. Option one is you can please visit birminghamlandbank.org. Again, that's spelled out all letters, birminghamlandbank.org, or you can call 205-254-2117. Again, 205-254-2117 to speak to anyone regarding your interests or curiosity or questions or concerns around the land bank.
Thank you, Mayor. And there's another one along those lines, and the caller is asking, is the land bank continuing to process applications for parcels that have been approved?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Back to concerns from the library and a few statements from someone who just wanted to make sure that we're keeping an open mind, and it just says, I just want to make sure that even though the library is going to continue curbside, that the libraries, museums, and everything and all the assets they own and all the older things, what's going to happen with the services?
The services will continue as they are today.
Thank you, sir. Caller would like to know, and is asking about the different departments from the library to public works that are a part of the city but have their own independent boards, and is asking why aren't their decisions exclusively made by the mayor and the mayor's office?
That's a good question, everybody. Listen, you have several things. You have something called an Enabling Act, which is pretty much down from Montgomery, that creates and establishes boards and agencies that are responsible for certain things within our city, such as the Park and Recreation Board, such as the Library Board, etc. And then you also have the Mayor-Council Act that separates various powers. What I can tell you is this. What I've learned is that this is our third budget. The first two budgets had a surplus, and there are no problems, and we were able to move along well. This third budget, due to the global pandemic that is out of our control, we have a budget shortfall, and all of our leadership styles are exposed. You know, leadership, it's exposed, of course, you know, when there's challenges and controversies. What I will say is this. We have governed with an open hand. With this budget, we will continue to govern with an open hand. If there are compromises that can be made, we seek to make them. But I'm telling y'all, everyone cannot get what they want when there's a $63 million shortfall. All right? There will be pain points somewhere. Our goal has been to minimize the pain points as much as possible and strike the balance of keeping basic services intact and keeping 3,700 people employed. Out of 3,700 people employed, today we're talking about 63 full-time people and 23 part-time. That's still a significant number because if it was one, that one person would still be significant. But our goal is to make sure that number's not higher.
Thank you, Mayor, for the information. Thank you, Mayor, for sharing your heart today and your concern for our city. This will be our last question of the day, and it is from and neighborhood leader, and says, what is the portion of neighborhood funds included in this budget, and are they still a part of the budget?
Say the question one more time.
What is the portion of neighborhood funds included in this budget, and are they still part of the budget?
Yes, the neighborhood funds every year since I've been in office has been $2,000 per neighborhood. I think combined, all of the neighborhoods, current funding for all 99 neighborhoods is $3.5 million. So there was no decrease in neighborhood funding. Overall, 99 neighborhoods combined have right at $3.5 million. I urge you, neighborhood leaders, to spend your neighborhood funds. Don't beat me up on what I'm about to say. You have issues such as potholes, blight removal, speed humps, cameras, off-duty officers working only assigned to your neighborhood for additional eyes and ears. I would prefer you all to spend that money on that than on neighborhood fund days when we have a shortfall of funding. We will partner with you. When you have combined $3.5 million for neighborhood funding, that is a lot of money. We believe, and we work together, we can do some things. I do want to thank the neighborhood leaders because most of you all agree with what I've said. I just want to encourage all of you all. So let's be more creative in how we spend that neighborhood funding.
Hey, Mr. Mayor and Sybil, this is Rick Journey, Service Director of Communications in the Mayor's Office. If I can jump in, I'm going to wear my old hat. I'm late breaking news here. We wanted to update you. Sybil, if you can read what the questions were earlier, I can give you the results.
Sure, Rick, I'll be glad to do that. The polling question, the first one is, who are you?
So we had 33% who were identified as neighborhood officers, 33% identified as employees, 20% identified as ACE alumni, and 8% identified as residents, 6% identified as faith leaders.
Good information. The next question was, this question is for neighborhood associations. Has the closure of facilities due to COVID-19 changed the way you function as a group?
Okay, 59% said yes, 28% said that the group has adjusted to the change, 13% said no.
Thank you, Rick. The third polling question, what is your greatest concern about this budget?
So we had 36% identified furloughs as their greatest concern, 21% identified basic services like garbage pickup and grass cutting, 21% identified libraries, 11% said they didn't know, and 10% said I have no concerns about this budget.
Thank you, Rick. And the last question, polling question that we had for the day was, should we defund the police?
76% said no, we should not defund the police. 16% said yes, and 8% had no opinion.
Thank you, Rick Journey, for that information on our polling questions. Mayor, we turn it back over to you for your final thoughts.
My final thoughts are two words, and that's thank you. Again, to the leaders and to the residents, listeners, whoever else is on this call. I hope this information was very timely and valuable for you and to you. We've armed you with some factual information. Please spread the word. Please share this information. Talk to it with your neighbors, your church members. Email it out, text it out, put it on Facebook. Do whatever you can to arm your network and your circles with factual information about the tough times we're in and the decisions we're making. Your leadership is appreciated. Your time is appreciated, and your sacrifice is appreciated. And I just genuinely thank you for everything you do. And we'll close out by asking Pastor Lawrence Conway from Fellowship Bible Church to end the call with the word of prayer. Pastor Conway.
Thank you, Mayor Woodson, and thank you for your leadership. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you all the glory and all the honor for who you are and for what you are always doing. We understand that you are in the people business, and our city is the people. We thank you for the wisdom, oh God, that you have supplied to our mayor and all of those that are working alongside of him. We thank you, God, for giving us the necessary resources to continue to provide for the people that are part of this city. We understand, oh God, based upon this pandemic, that things are tight and hard decisions must be made. And we ask, Father, that you cause this information to spread throughout the city so that we are operating on one accord. We understand the power of unity, and we understand that there's nothing that we cannot do when we are unified and on one accord. We thank you for the resources, oh God, coming in. We know that you're able to do what we ask, and you're able to do above and beyond what we ask, according to your power working within and among us. Now, Lord, we lift up those that have been furloughed and those that are possibly going to be furloughed. And we ask, Lord, that you open doors for them and their families so that they have all of the necessities of life that they are in need of. We trust that you will cause all things to work together for their good. And we just thank you, Father, for all that you are doing and all that you will continue to do. We understand that this pandemic came to pass. It will not last. And we look forward to that day when this is behind us. And until then, we thank you for your strength being supplied for each day and hope being supplied for each tomorrow. So be glorified in all that we as a city do in this place that we're in this season. Thank you for every person, oh God, that's on this call. Thank you for all of the city employees that are working tirelessly to make sure that we as a city have all that we need. And we just give you the glory and all the honor and all of the praise for what we have accomplished here today. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Pastor Conaway. Thank you, our faith leaders, neighborhood leaders, ACE graduates, and community leaders. This call will be available online tomorrow at www.birminghamal.gov. Thank you, Mayor. This concludes our call. Please enjoy your day.